This is a trade recap for December 8th, 2023. This happens to be non-farm payroll. So early in the morning, I took a trade that wasn't recorded just because it was really, really early. So this happened to be on the non-farm payroll report, right? This is where it happened on this bar here. So the report came out, it tanked, and then it kind of retraced all the way back. Take a look at this right here on the report. Once the report was released, guess where it was rejected, right? It was at the point of control zone here, followed by another point of control fresh one over here, plus a a gap zone zone right here. So this area held very nicely on the report. My entry during that time was this bar right here, right? So I saw that, this zone right here held a lot of volume on the report, but as soon as the report was finished, 5 minutes later, you'll see that the selling volume decreased, right? So I took a long right here on one contract just because it was volatile. My target was about here for $135. Again, I didn't record that part of it. Let's go to today's trade, or the New York session hour trade. So I'll fast forward some of this. This was actually an interesting area here. I wanted to see if I could buy right here, right now. This was 2 minutes before the open, so it would have been kind of risky. If I did take this trade, I probably only put in one contract and I would have targeted here. Now, I would only take this trade if this bar here that closed was positive, right? And the close of the bar was above the point of control of the bar. And it did happen. It turned out that it did create that opportunity, but again, I didn't take it just because it was very close to the open. Okay, at this point in time here, take a look at this bar right here. There's a massive gap here. I'm not sure what happened here. I wasn't paying attention. I think there's a report at 7 o'clock that generated this massive bar here. Now, the interesting thing is that the gap, right? Take a look at the gap here. That's a massive gap. And that's why I kind of marked it red here on this line. What I wanted to do then is basically, this is an area of interest that I'm interested in. If the market kept going up, I would try to take a short to maybe target this particular gap here, right? On the 1 hour, you'll see that that's a pretty big gap. Right? So what I'd like to see is, I'd like to see the market break this high, take out all the stops up here, and then eventually come down to take out this gap here. So at this point in time, my thought process is I'm looking for a short. At this point in time, it's just very, very bullish, right? Positive delta on the 1 minute. Every single bar put out is positive delta. People hitting the ask button here. Positive, positive. There's no reason to go short here at this point in time here. Okay, so this here is where I'm looking for a short, right? The reason for the short again is it broke this high, took out a lot of liquidity up here. You'll also see that decreasing volume, right? On the 1 hour, again, decreasing volume up here as well. So I'm looking for a short here. Okay, this looks interesting here. It took out this high. We got a massive down bar here, continuation down bar. We got sellers coming in, right? We see volume for the buyers decreasing substantially. So what I'm looking for is I want to see what happens here at this particular gap zone. If it breaks this gap zone and this happens to retest this bar here and there's negative deltas, I'm planning to go short. So far, so good. There's a gap zone here, unmitigated point of control zone right here. So everything's setting up very nicely for short. Plus, sellers coming in, decreasing buyers. Okay, so I decided to take a short right here. Let's take a look at the reason why the short. This created negative delta. That's a pretty big negative delta here. Decreasing buyer volumes. Sellers coming in. Now on the 1 minute, this bar right here, okay, was rejected. You see this wick right here? It got rejected. It did break this point of control zone right here. And I see a continuation down bar right here. Plus, if you look over here, you'll see that the point of control on the 15-minute is at the top of the bar. So a lot of transaction happened right here. So I decided to take a short. So my stop would have been on top of this zone right here. Happens to be on top of this 5-minute down bar. Okay, my target would have been, or is, this formerly fair value gap right here that was broken, right? So sometimes it'll come back to that gap zone right here, test it, and if buyers step in, it might just, shoot up. So just to be safe, I put a target just where the previous gap zone was, right here. There you go. It took me out on this particular trade. So I ended the day with $300. Now this happened to also be the top, as you'll see soon. Also, an area of interest right here is right here. So this used to be an order block. It broke that block. The tendency is that once it breaks it, there's going to be still a lot of buyers here waiting to get in. So if you were going to take a long, this would be a good area for you to see what happens when it tries to test this area. Additionally, if you were short and you had a runner going, okay, this might be a good area for you to sell out your position, right? Because this is a strong area demand. Again, my bias is short just because I wanted that. I wanted this gap to be filled. This gap here is the inefficiency. So the market likes to go ahead and close that before it either trends up or down. Okay, so my bias is short still, but if you wanted to go long, this would be an area you would want to go long on. So I'll just show you what happened here. Okay, it's testing this zone right here that I drew earlier. So here's the important part. Take a look at the point of control on this bar here, right? It's at the low of the bar, right? Another one at the low of the bar. Additionally, there's a gap zone, a buy gap zone right here as well. So you got everything going for you if you were planning to go long, right? Everything was being set up here. Plus, there's the VWAP right here as well. So this is, you do not want to go short here at this point, right? So I was about to take a buy here. I was about to go long here. Again, my criteria again is the bar has to be positive delta. The close has to be on the up bar. And the close has to be above the point of control. Okay, you'll see me placing an order right down here, getting ready to go long here. Now, I didn't take the trade because once this bar closed, it actually created a negative delta down here. So I didn't take the trade. But if I had, it would have been a good trade because it actually went all the way back up. So then again, you see me prepping it right here, looking for a long. Now, this is negative delta, right? So this wouldn't trigger for me. You also see that there's also going to be, if this bar closes where it is right now, it's going to create another gap zone right here, which is a bearish gap zone, right? So either way, even if this was positive delta and this bar happens to close right here, I would have not taken this trade just because it'll generate another gap zone right here. So you'll see that this bar here that I was interested in was a negative delta, right? Because the number was below the bar. And as stated earlier, it created a gap zone right here. So if I would have taken this trade, if this was positive, my initial target would have been just right here, and risk reward wasn't there for me. But as you'll soon see, buyers were just in control, took it all the way back up here to test this point of the control zone. Now you'll see that Let me go back to this here real quick. You'll see that initially it was rejected. So you'll see a wick here coming up right there. But then buyers just took out all the short here. So again, this would have been a rejection here if it closed right there, but it didn't. It went all the way back up. So we did see buyers here. I mean sellers right here. Right, but it didn't last too long because it just pushed right through it. Again, tested this unmitigated point of control. So your target would have been here again if you would take in that trade. So my thesis is still short just because I wanted that gap zone right here, right? That's massive gap there. My trading is only 6:30 till 8:30 max. So by the time it filled this particular gap there, it was way past my trading hours. Right? But if you watch Friday, you'll see that this gap does get filled in. All right, so that's the recap of Friday's trade, up $310.